Give Ohio State an inch and they will defend it. It's a mentality, it's a physicality, and goal line stands are invaluable to road wins at Penn State for Ohio State. That's Zach Boren. I'm Austin Ward. This is BuckIQ. Is it more mentality? Is it more physicality? Is it all the above, Zach? What gets it done?
It's all of the above. And Ryan Day preached it going into the Penn State game of we need to change the way that we play. We need to play with more emotion. Guys need to lead. Big time players need to play big in big time games. Like that's the first time I've heard him say that all year. He said it during the week. He said it when they got off the bus on Friday in Happy Valley. Everything that Ryan Day was preaching to the team during the week leading up to that game, they did.
Is there some secret? Like goal line stands are that is mano a mano, as tough as it gets, nose to nose, helmet to helmet. Ohio State, they're hard to do, and Ohio State's done it a few times in a row here, a few games in a row. They are good in short yardage situations. They are great with their back against the wall. What's the secret sauce here?
You know, the person who's probably been most influential in my football career has been my dad. And my dad was notorious from taking a quote from Bo Schembechler. And I'm going to come full circle with this because so much nowadays, especially, you see how talented teams are. You see on paper how special teams can be. And I would argue this year, more than any other, especially in the landscape of college football, you're seeing teams that aren't used to being in the spotlight. You're seeing teams that maybe aren't the most talented play really well. Like look at Indiana, right? Look at Army, Boise State, like the list goes on and on. Well, there's something that that takes good teams from great and great teams to special. And it's called playing with heart, right? And so much of the game of football is playing with heart. And what I mean by that is you go out there and you freaking put your body on the line, play in and play out, and you fight your butt off, play in and play out. And you saw this team playing with heart on Saturday. You know, this team was scrapping, they were grinding. That's not skill. That's not even, that's not even mindset. That's playing from within and freaking playing for something bigger than yourself. And that's what I saw on Saturday. And you bring up the goal line stands and you bring up, you know, some of the plays that they made, they were playing with heart. And that's when a team can go from good to great, like I said, and great to special. And I'm hoping this team can build off of that.
Let's zoom out from the goal line for just a minute. When you look at Saturday in particular, because I don't know, there were some changes in the Nebraska game. They didn't feel as maybe notable or dramatic as they might have been for Penn State, which some of it is still subtle, at least to, you know, someone like me who hasn't lived it or doesn't watch it with as close of an eye as you. But, you know, Jim Knowles and Ryan Day were talking about this earlier in the week, Zach, about sort of re-engineering the defense. And what are you noticing that's different? Because I think the overall sense is like, well, this is more like the Oklahoma State version of Jim Knowles and his defense. And to try and, I don't know, re-engineer that on the fly in the middle of the season seems like a daunting challenge, but it feels like Ohio State is executing that.
Yeah, I don't know if I heard that earlier this week, and I don't know if I'd call it re-engineering. What I would call it is playing to your personnel. And I think you're seeing this Ohio State team, especially now, we're 7-8 weeks into the season, they're starting to get a better feel of what their team looks like, where players need to be in certain situations. And that's just knowing your team. That's playing your personnel. That's what great coaches do, great managers do. So I think you're seeing this team, you know, put Caleb Downs in some different situations that he was earlier in the year, and you're seeing him flashing on tape. I think you're seeing them do different things with the front that maybe wasn't working early on in the year, and now it's being much more successful later on. You're seeing more of a rotation up front, and I don't think that's anywhere near where Ryan wants it to be. But they're doing some different things. So it's just subtle changes. I don't call it re-engineering. I just say, hey, listen, you're starting to call plays or tailor your defense to put your players put your players in position to make plays.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense to me. Let's zoom back into the goal line. We've got the clips of the goal line stand that clinched or helped clinch before Ohio State's running game iced the clock there Saturday at Penn State. Huge win for the program. Let's see how they got it and roll the tape. Well, this isn't the fourth quarter, but I said earlier in the week on the Boren Blitz, what should we do? Davison Igbinosun or a goal line stand? Well, this was a goal line stand. I mean, the stakes weren't quite as high, but this was a pivotal part of the game, and Penn State was stunned. And everyone in Beaver Stadium was stunned about what happened here, Zach.
Well, yeah, I was in Beaver Stadium, and I think that stadium erupted for maybe 2 seconds, and then they realized what was going on. This is what I love about the play. The play before this, IGB got called for pass interference, and the guy made a spectacular catch on him. So he's got two things going against him. Ball's on the 3-yard line, 14 seconds left, and you're like, hey, listen, I still got to man up, get past what just happened, and play my position. IGB right here, man. Amazing play, great ball skills. He's reading the receiver's hands. Like, there was, I think it was back in like 2017, 2018. You and I used to talk a lot on BuckIQ about teaching and what the DB coach is. And that was back in the Kerry Combs days. So many guys weren't turning their heads. Well, guess what? There's different techniques for different situations. So obviously in the middle of the field, you want to turn your head. In the goal line, when you know it's going to be something that's back shoulder, something quicker, guess what? You have to play the receiver's hands. And you see right here that IGB, he's being physical, needs to make sure those hands aren't as touchy. And Coach Day and Jim Knowles has touched on that. But guess what? He's going to read the receiver's hands right here. He sees him going up for the catch. He can feel it. And guess what? He strikes and then somehow, some way gets this interception. Amazing ball skills here by IGB.
I love the way that you put that with reading his hands, because look at this left hand. He has no choice. He's literally reading it. It's in his face and he's getting interfered with himself, which I had not noticed on Saturday in real time.
No doubt. But right here, so you saw him right when that left hand comes off of IGB's face. You can see the receiver go up. And what does IGB do with that left hand? Right? He went right in between, and who knows if he got a finger on it, a couple fingers on it, but the ball comes up and it was just enough for that receiver to bobble that football. And then IGB has the awareness to find the football, secure it, and get his right foot in bounds.
What a crazy play. Massive, massive play. Get those done at the end of both halves for the Ohio State defense. So kudos to him. There's been a lot of talk about Davison Igbinosun here and elsewhere about the physicality he played with, but that's going to go down as one of the biggest plays he ever makes with Ohio State. Here is where the game was ultimately won. Fourth quarter, Penn State's driving. They've got 4 chances inside the 5. They're starting at the 3. There's not a lot of, to me, schematics here, Zach. You just line up and you try and win the line of scrimmage.
No doubt, man. This is where that defensive line and linebackers look at each other before the snap and say, listen, boys, the big dog's got to eat right here. Like, we got to come downhill and we got to be physical. And what I love here on first down is this defense set the tone, right? Defensive line is not letting any penetration. Obviously, here on goal line, the running back's looking for any kind of crease, right? Get skinny, squeeze through any kind of crease. Right here, you see the defensive line being strong up front, keeping their shoulders square to the line of scrimmage, which guess what? If they get turned, that's where those little creases happen. Everyone is square right here. Cody Simon's coming downhill. Arvell Reese is coming downhill. Like, you even see IGB and Lathan Ransom and Caleb Downs. Everyone's coming downhill. Look, everyone on this defense is within 1.5 yards of the line of scrimmage when this play happens. So here, defense plays big. I mean, this is the start of an unreal sequence.
What I was looking at some of the guys that were out on the field, Zach, and you remember like Tyleik Williams had gone out here. So you think in a situation like this, you're trying to stop the run. You know that it's a goal line stand, and Ohio State's playing without a potential All-American defensive tackle, one of their best veteran leaders. Like that adds to a little bit of the degree of difficulty as well.
For sure. And if people weren't a fan of Caden McDonald before this series, they better be a massive fan of this guy after this series, because he held his own, came in here, set the tone, but the entire defensive line as well. Like, this was the one play that scared me, right? Because you can see, look at that. Compared to first down, there's some space, and that's what I talk about. Running backs looking for any kind of crease, right? CJ Hicks right here, yes, he gets underneath the block and does a great job, but he needs to squeeze a little bit harder right here. But guess what? They found a way to get the running back down. That's all that matters. Live to play another down when you're inside the 5-yard line, when you're on the goal line. They found a way to do that, get to third down. That's the one play that scared me. You can see some of the changes in the second level, so to speak. But
Yeah.
guess what? Replay, here we go.
I think, again, for the Caden McDonald fan club that's growing, this is probably the one.
What I loved is, Caden McDonald may not had a great first play, may not have had a great second play, and it's not like he got blown up, just maybe not to his standard. Look what he comes out here and does on third down. He goes, hey, listen, we may have had, I may have won first down, you may have won second down. I'm coming out and dominating you on third down. And look at this. Like, this blows the play up. When I talk about crease, this running back, he wants to get downhill. He has to, knowing, hey, listen, I'm on the 1.5 yard line. I cannot dance around here. So guess what? Caden McDonald blows up this dude on the offensive line. Running back's forced to go inside and squeeze down. Nowhere for him to go. Creates a fourth down. I mean, this is a massive, massive play.
Yeah, great stuff from Caden McDonald. I think you're going to continue to see him more involved, especially not just because, Tyleik Williams has earned a break regardless, but he's he's got the ankle injury. I think maybe in the next 2 weeks we see even more of Caden McDonald starting Saturday against Purdue. We'll see, but Penn State is hammered away 3 times in a row. James Franklin and Andy Kolnick, you're like, well, I guess we better try something to pass, and well, that didn't work either.
This is what I love is that, I'm sure the Penn State coaches looking back now are like, man, we tried outsmarting ourselves, because guess what? They're probably banking on 4th and 1. Ohio State's going to sell out for the run. We are literally going to pass this, and we're going to come in right behind them, especially if you watch the last 3 plays, right? Everyone on the defense was flying downhill. What I love here from the Ohio State defense is ball is snapped, and it's almost like no one is flying downhill. Everyone is looking at their responsibility like, okay, I'm manned up. I'm matched up. Look at this. Like, everyone, it's like a real pass play from that standpoint. Like, they were almost sitting on this. And what I love is that, guess what? Everyone was physical at the point of attack. Everyone's in great position, even when you're expecting to run and a pass comes at you, and then you're able to get off the field. This is unbelievable. I love it. Defensive line still doing their job. This is why you pay Caleb Downs the big bucks, and this is why, I know Todd McShay, I think on Monday Night Football, was talking about how he is the best safety in all of college football. You and I have been so outspoken about Caleb Downs and what he does for this defense. And, I think there was a question this week during media to Ryan Day of, Caleb Downs doesn't have the stats like he did at Alabama, right, blah, blah, blah. Hey, listen, if you don't see how Caleb Downs is affecting games even without the stats, I can't help you. Look at the all-22 view of what Caleb Downs does play in and play out for this defense. And this is even, that's huge, right? Guess what? That's not a stat right there. He's not getting a pass breakup. Like, it's just an incomplete pass. But guess what? He freaking makes this play.
This ball comes back to the middle of the field. So I think maybe, when you're rewatching the replay, that's where your eyes go. But when I was getting this play ready and rewatching it, it's like, Penn State got some criticism for not going to Tyler Warren down there in the red zone. This was clearly designed for Tyler Warren, and the job that IGB and Lathan Ransom do to defend this first choice route up here for Penn State, gets a little bit overlooked because you have Cody Simon and Caleb Downs where the ball ends up going, but it only has to go there because Lathan Ransom gets around this pick play so well.
Yeah, this is the goal line pick play to a T, right? And if IGB is not physical at the point of attack, coming off the line of scrimmage, that wide receiver picks Lathan Ransom. He has to run around. Drew Aller, you can see his eyes going directly to Tyler Warren. He's able to get a quick strike, and guess what? It's a touchdown. IGB is physical, so Lathan Ransom doesn't need to even bow around those two guys and is able to play straight downhill at an angle towards Tyler Warren. And Drew Aller could see that with his eyes and knew, hey, listen, I had to come back to an alternate read. And that's where you see Caleb Downs and Cody Simon make a play.
Yeah, that's not the world you want to live in. Ohio State can certainly handle that, and they did Saturday. Huge win, as it said down there, 20-13 for Ohio State and Happy Valley. Back in control of the Big Ten destiny for them, trying to get back to Indy, maybe for a rematch against Oregon. Next up, though, will be Purdue. Not quite the same high stakes, but there's no margin for error. You can tell, though, Ohio State treating this one a little bit different than maybe they have some others, just the way they've talked about Purdue already this week. We'll see how that goes.
Don't take Purdue lightly, Austin. Do not take Purdue lightly.
You have experienced that, and I've
It's the
seen it.
only team in the Big Ten I don't have a winning record against. That's a problem.
That is,
That's a
hey,
problem.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but you can't take Purdue for granted at any point. You might beat them by 50, or they might put you in a dogfight. Who knows? We'll see Saturday. Almost there. Appreciate Zach Boren, as always, breaking it down. A little goal line stand, a little challenge to see if we could stretch out some plays without a ton of scheme. And Zach, of course, delivered. Appreciate his insight, as always. Thanks for joining us. He's Zach. I'm Austin. This is BuckIQ. We'll talk to you next time.